All right. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon on a casual little chat, just us few friends together, talking about Windows 10 deployment. One of very few level 400 sessions here of Ignite, so we're very, very happy about getting this one approved. This feels to us like the session that never goes away. We have done sessions for this like the past 2 decades, and I think we will continue to do it quite a while, because no matter how shiny cloud attachment and cloud solutions are, someone needs to put Windows on the box. And it either be you, or an OEM, or a service provider to the OEM. Someone has to do it. So I figured if I don't deploy it myself, at least I can do consulting on it, and life will be good. My name is Johan. Been doing this for a while, 30 years now. Started when I was 16. Doing deployment was easier back then. Copying a floppy, done. Now it's more things to it. I work for Trusec. I basically spend my time traveling this blue planet of ours, helping customers implementing config manager, OSD stuff. And with me, I have Mr.
Michael Nystrom. Most people call me Mike. I'm also known as the deployment bunny for some weird reasons. I've been doing this for 10 more years. I started with 8-inch floppies. He started with 5 1/4. That's the small floppies. 8s are the real ones. I do both client deployment as well as server deployment, and a lot of customers go like, do you know both clients and servers? It's Windows. You install it. It's not much more than that. That's pretty much it. We both love same food, kind of. And we've been MVPs for
Long time.
14, it says 14, I have no idea. 14 years.
If you guys are not on Twitter, get on Twitter. It's, in my opinion, the best resource for information these days, being able to keep up to date with stuff that happens, because it turns out Microsoft and other vendors are cranking out solutions all the time. And Twitter is just a very fantastic way of, keeping up to date, staying ahead, knowing when to work on things or not work on things. So please follow us, but also check the people we follow, because we follow industry experts in these areas that provide on a daily basis a lot of valuable information.
And when it comes to following, it's okay to follow Johan's wife. You don't need to follow my wife. She doesn't work in IT. So. No
there are 2 people in the world with my last name or our last name, and they are the only one doing deployment in this family.
Yeah, used to be one.
Yep. All right. So focus for today is MDT and Config Manager. We will use Config Manager for the most of the time, but some of the demos we will do in the normal MDT environment. But 99-point-something% of what we do works in both platforms. It's just that sometimes doing a feature is quicker in one of them than the other. So we're going to switch a little bit back and forth, but should be good. Now, as a techie, IT pro, sysadmin, the nicest gift ever, except possibly whiskey at Christmas, that the manager can give you is a nice lab machine. Because for me, the ability to having a lab machine where I can try and test and tinker with things is so valuable. And it doesn't have to be a fancy machine either. It can be an $1,100 PC, brand new. As long as that PC has an i7, has an NVMe SSD disk, terabyte or so in size, have 32 gigs of RAM, you can actually run most workloads on that box. And because of the i7 and the SSD, particularly the SSD, you will actually see that that little tiny desktop box or laptop that you have doing labs in will outperform your production servers, because it's a very specific workload. You may have like 5, 10 clients on it, but setting up a lab is absolutely key. So we figured we would start with that, because the demo environment that we are using here today on stage is actually available for download, and has been so for almost a decade. Well, not the same version, but the concept has been available for a while. And it's called the hydration kit. Basically what it is,
Before you dig into that, could you just flip the screen for a short while so we can see the real home lab?
Of course, one does not miss what a home lab should look like.
You need at least 2 racks. And you need at least, I have like 15 servers or something like that. It doesn't look like that anymore. I've replaced one of the racks with a full rack instead. I also have a laptop, but that's not really for labbing.
Or you can use a Dell Optiplex 7060 and life will be good.
Yeah.
All right. So if you go to deployment research and search for the magic keyword hydration, has nothing to do with beer, unfortunately, but it's you will see a ton of blog posts. One of them is how to build a lab containing Server 2016 and config managed current branch and technical preview. This is just a PowerShell script that you download that is capable of building a bunch of VMs. But the download is really just a ready-made deployment share. So you download and unpack this little zip file. It's a few 100 kilobytes in size. And you get a folder structure like this. And what do you guys think this does? Well, that script creates an MDT deployment share. So after running that script, after you download it, you open up your workbench. And what you will find is a deployment share, ready-made with, well, a ton of apps, some operating systems, some sequences. And each of these sequences is a predefined server. So what you then have to do is go into the folder structure and starting to do some copying and pasting. And I've explained this in detail on the blog, what you need to download and where you need to copy it where. But even if you didn't see that documentation, if you went into this folder, Michael, SQL Server 2016, what would you have copied to this folder?
I have no config manager.
No. You copy SQL to that folder.
Yes, and it needs to be unpacked and unzipped and all that stuff, so yeah.
But it's straightforward. So you do a few copying and pasting, and we test these kits with both trial versions that you get from the eval center, or if you have full licenses in your environment, you can use them for the same copying.
A really nice thing about using this method means that you can now separate your production environment from your lab environment. Most of our customers, I wouldn't say most, some of our customers, they don't really have a production environment. They only have a lab environment. And that's kind of nice, but it's better to have a separate lab environment so you don't need to use the production environment to lab. We do things sometimes, but we do it in separate environments. I wouldn't do things I do at home in a customer environment without asking at least first.
That would be nice. So 3 steps, download the script, run it. Copy some files back and forth, and then you generate the media by right-clicking and say update media. And what that process makes or creates is a big, giant ISO file. So if I go to my folder structure here and check in the ISO folder, there is a really big ISO file, about 20 gigs in size, but it's bootable. So now I only need to find a virtual platform. I'm using Hyper-V in this case, but it's certainly not limited to that. Any virtual platform that is capable of booting from an ISO can run this kit. And if you guys are using a platform that doesn't support booting from an ISO, I would probably recommend switching to something that kind of does. Because it's not from this century, it's from earlier than that. So I create a VM, and there is actually a PowerShell script that creates VM also in that kit. I just had one that I stole and borrowed, used. And you boot it up, and you pick what server this VM is supposed to be. And I recommend you guys to start with the domain controller, because all the other VMs is going to try to join that domain. And it really, really, really helps to have a domain controller running at that point. So I simply click my domain controller. I hit next. I go to Starbucks. I stay away for 20 minutes, because after 20 minutes, I have a domain controller with OUs, with users, with everything you need. And then I leave that VM running. I create a second VM, boot it up on the same ISO, pick another sequence. So for example, if I pick a CMO1 sequence, That's just a regular server deployment sequence, deploys server 2016, or applies that image to the box. And in the end, it's starting to do config manager things, adding in all the prereqs, installs ADK, installs SQL, sets the memory, configure firewall, install the management studio since it's now decoupled from SQL, configure AD for config manager, sets permission, the system management container, installs the site server, installs MDT, sets up the integration. Bottom line, you create the VM, you pick that sequence, you walk away for about an hour, and then you have a site server. So there are no excuses for not setting up a lab. The entire process of building these services is typically around 3 hours, whereof you spend about 45 minutes looking for installation media somehow. But it's quite convenient.
We have another hydration kit, which is also only based on building on top of Hyper-V. The difference is that in that hydration kit, we don't use MDT at all. Instead, we use PowerShell Direct.
Yes.
That hydration kit is used for building lab environments, and it also is built for building production environments. And we know...
Data centers.
Yeah, data centers. Yeah. We have consultants around the world that uses that to build their custom and customer environments with. The entire build time to build an entire data center is about 3.5 hours. And you can imagine clicking through that to install the entire system, center suite, 2 domain controllers, and a bunch of virtual hypervisors with storage spaces direct. And click.
That will be more than 4 clicks.
Oh, yeah. Like 5.
Yeah. So the thing with this is that the first machine that you set up is actually also a DHCP server. And on a scale from 1 to 10, how happy do you think your networking group would be if you put out a rogue DHCP server on the production network? They will not be happy. They will not be happy. So what I recommend that you do when you set up this in a lab and start to test this, even if you are at work, is to put all these VMs on isolated switches, isolated networks in Hyper-V. But then comes the trick. OK, so they are isolated. For example, this one is an internal network switch. How do I get internet access to the VMs? The answer is PowerShell. Because in Windows Server 2016 and above, and in Windows 10, 16, or 17 or 3 something, later versions of Windows 10 and above, you have a network gateway in software. So my wife, actually, Amy, put together a post a while back. It's really, you hit to let's see where I put that one. Here we go, setting up network features. So this is the entire configuration. Create a switch and run 2 commandlets. And now you have internet access to the VMs, and they are still isolated. So now you can play around with software updates. You can update your console or the site server to new versions, stuff like that.
And let's assume that you want to play with a physical machine. You have the lab environment, but you really want to deploy a physical machine. You know, you want to play with drivers. You want to feel the pain with drivers. So the only thing you need to do now is to flip all these VMs and set them to a VLAN, connect the cable to a switch, and make sure that the networking guy don't use that VLAN. Because if they do, you're going to have issues. Now you can actually plug in physical machines to that, and they will be NATed and routed through the host machine here. So that's how we can take a bunch of machines, connect them to the physical and the virtual network, and use that as well.
I mean, these days you can go in and buy a $50 Netgear switch that has VLAN support. So you can tag a few of those ports and say, this is going to be my testing ports when I would want to do physical deployments. Yep. And they will be the only ports that will happily talk to your MDT or config manager server. So bottom line, a lab environment is absolutely key. If you have the luxury of running data center on it, you can do fun things like data deduplication. As you can see here, I have almost 3 terabytes of VMs on a 1 terabyte disk. That will not be doable without data deduplication. And there is absolutely no performance increase. There is just something you enable on server, and you have it. So every now and then when I start to run out of disk space, that's when I simply run the dedupe job, and I have disk space again. I mean, on this machine, I have a 4 terabyte SSD in it. It's normal in laptops these days. But I run my VMs on this one, which is only a terabyte. And the reason I run it on this one, because that is that type of SSD. And they are 5 to 6 times faster than normal SATA SSDs. So if you can, get server OS, otherwise buy bigger disks. Yeah. All right, back to you, Michael. The never-ending question when doing deployment.
Should I or should I not?
Wow. There is a difference between F5 and Shift F5 in PowerPoint.
So I've been in the booth the entire week, except now. And one of the questions is, do we really need to have a reference image? And that is something I can't answer. But what I can tell you is this.
Do you want the screen, sir?
I would like to have the screen because I have to show people my fancy MS Paint skills. Somebody told me that you and Johan are the only ones that can get away with doing demos in Microsoft Paint.
My life goal for next year is to learn to master 3D Paint. How about that?
I'm working on it really hard. It's very simple. Somewhere, somebody needs to say that the maximum time that we allow a machine to be deployed is set to a certain number of minutes. It's either 45, it's an hour, it's 2 hours, 10 hours, 15 hours, 16 minutes. 16 minutes is the shortest time I had a customer with a requirement says, if we need to redeploy a machine, it needs to be reinstalled and done working within 16 minutes. Okay. We need to have a thick reference image with all the applications in it, and you need to update it every week. Okay. We also need to have NVMe drives and 10 gigabit Ethernet. Okay. And we made it in 16 minutes. Kind of 15 or something like that. But we also have customers saying, it doesn't matter, 10 hours is fine, even 12 hours. If I need to deploy a machine in 10 hours, why should I invest in something that makes it faster? There's no point. So the only reason to have a reference image, the one and only, is time. Somebody set a time limit. Otherwise, there's no point of having it.
It's basically your manager comes to you with a brand new laptop he found somewhere and say, hey, you, please deploy this. When can it be done? Either you reply and say, in about an hour, or you say in about 4 hours. If you want to meet that hour, you probably need a reference image, depending on how many apps you have. If the 8-hour window is okay, you probably don't need it.
No. Why do people set a time limit of 45 minutes? What's the purpose of that? Because redeploying a machine is one of the ways to repair it. The IT technician walks up to the computer and he's troubleshooting it. Can't fix it, F12.
Or refresh.
That's it, or refresh. Because the time you're going to spend redeploying a machine is too costly for the environment. The user that needs to have the computer can't get another one. We need to redeploy that machine, and that person is costing more per hour than we make in a week. Then you need to redeploy the machine really fast. That's very simple. So it's just math. If you do need to have a reference image, it should be fully automated. Otherwise, it's pointless, at least in my opinion. I think it's pointless because you're going to repeat this over and over again. Let's say that you run Windows 10, 1709, 1803, and now 1809, and maybe you also have something older, like 1703. They still need to be updated because you might need to reinstall an old operating system because you haven't certified, verified, tested all the applications. So we need to run 3 generations at the same time. We're getting rid of one and we're adding a new one. We might need to have 32 and 64. I try to avoid that, but I do have customers that requires that. And if they do, well, then they do. So it's easy to come up with, we need to create 6, 7, 8, 9 different reference images every month. Just imagine that you will, for the rest of your life, install Windows and watch the progress bar every month, and you're going to install the same thing every month. You are going to get bananas after a while. It's going to be like crazy. And you're following this script, which is a WordPad document in RTF that says, this application, reboot, this application, reboot. Anybody seen those documents?
Yep, a few.
And you start reading and we're like, really? This is the way you do it? Okay.
So one question we have received the entire week working down in the expo area is, all right, cool, I have a reference image. It's important to me that it goes fast. Okay, fine, that's cool. But if you decide to have one, you must have 2 different types of images for your deployments. The reference image you use for normal bare metal deployments, you use it for refresh and use it for replay scenarios, old school stuff. That one cannot be used for feature updates. You cannot use that image. A build and capture image cannot be used when you want to go from one Windows 10 version to the next. So you need to have a separate WIM file, which is basically just the downloaded ISO from Microsoft, where you ran a PowerShell script to make sure it's up to date. And that part is absolutely critical. Is Adam in the room, by the way? There you go. That gentleman, Adam Gross, he has a PowerShell script that takes what you download from Microsoft and makes sure it's up to date. Why do you want to have the default image up to date? Because it contains updated setup components. It contains updated compatibility database, and it has fixes. So you will actually find that you have less failures in your feature updates by using an updated media. For those of you lucky to have an MSDN subscription, you can actually download them from MSDN. There is an updated, refreshed media on MSDN from August. That one is not available, at least not yet, in the volume license site. But you can just download Adam's script and you have one, and use that for feature update. So do not use build and capture for that, but instead you use build and capture for the normal scenarios.
Yes, and you should always think about the fact that I will do this again and again and again. Even if you do the 30 months support time for the latest version of Windows, yeah, it's still repeated. So how do we do it? I would say that for the vast majority of our customers, we use Microsoft Deployment Toolkit, not because it's the best, it's because it actually works. I tried other methods, and they all kind of work, and I don't really like it's kind of working. I like when it actually does work. So here we have a deployment share. It's really nothing fancy at all. We have the applications, operating system. We don't need any drivers. You can see that here I have a bunch of active applications. In this case, it's not much. I didn't even add Office to this one. Bundles, we have a bunch of operating systems. How long time do you think it takes from nothing to set this up? It takes approximately 3 minutes, because it's one PowerShell script that installs, configure, imports, and do everything for you. You can also click through everything. We used to do that in our classes before. We just think it's boring nowadays. You can see there's a bunch of different names and folders. I will cover that later on, but we have a packages folder. It also did create all the task sequences, so all the task sequences are already here. I'm just going to use that one, so that's the one that is enabled. And then we have something called validate. We use an automated validation process. So we do a build and capture, install all the application, install the patches, then we do a capture of it, right? But then we take the captured WIM file, import it back again, and build a new task sequence on top of that. And then we deploy that machine, so we can verify that the captured WIM file actually works. Then we run a report in that spits out all the applications and all the patches. So I know that all the patches, applications, and settings was successfully deployed to the machine. And then we can enhance that. We can take that Vim file, which we now know works, and shove it directly into Config Manager. And then we repeat the process by building a validation task sequence on the new Vim file and automatically deploy a bunch of VMs and send an email to subject matter experts that are supposed to test these applications. I have this running for a few customers. They use the entire chain, and that means when a new operating system comes in, the validation for the experts is presented for them within about 2 hours. That's from download to all VMs are done and tested. Now, then it takes about 2 weeks for these guys to log on and actually try to click around in the application, but that's another story. And that can also be automated. If you're big enough, you can buy an application that does that, or you can script something using Chef or Puppet that actually goes through these applications and try running all these open, save, store, edit, modify,
print,
things like that. So, we're not going to use this. We're going to flip to PowerShell instead. So what we have is something called the image factory. The image factory consists of a couple of steps. The first step is to configure everything. That installs and builds everything based on this XML file. This XML file defines all the folders where we want to have things and names. The only thing you really need to change if you're going to use this is the number of concurrent builds you want to run. I usually flip them between 2 and 6, depending on how much memory I have on a build machine and how fast the hard drives are.
Just to get the concept here, this is a PowerShell script that you run that spits out a Vim file for every sequence that you have in your deployment chair. Yeah. And it's fully automated. If you have 6 sequences, that will be 6 Vim files. That's how it works. And that will be fully up to date, having apps if you have apps, and runtimes if you have runtimes, etc.
Yeah. So this is configured, and then you run the setup. This one is an import. It imports all the ISO images and creates task sequence for each imported Vim file. And the only thing you need to have for that to work is actually a text file. Let's go to the text file. Here it is.
You need a bigger SSD.
Yes, that is true. Where's Marcus? Marcus, I need a bigger SSD.
Marcus is our manager.
Yes. He doesn't like us when we say things like that. So here's the CSV file. The only thing you do is specify path of the ISO, and you specify the organization name, and you specify the name of the import folder. That's it. Then we're done. We clean up, we build, and we verify. The verify part is interesting because after the verify part, we have the ability to generate reports. Let's check out the reports. Here they are. So it grabs a bunch of comma-separated text files. What we do is this. We build a VM, and we run an application that extracts all the data from the image while it's running. Then we store that on the deployment share. When we've done that, we run a server-side component that generates the report. So if we open this, we will now see following things: version, country code, name, sequence, things like that. All the roles and features that was installed. In this case, I didn't add any patches because I didn't have internet access when I was running it. Otherwise, you will see that together with all the applications. So it's a report. So instead of poking around in Windows, you just check the report. Did it install everything I wanted it to install? Yes, done. And then we continue. And that's pretty much the way it works. We have customers that fully automate this. We also have customers that run it some kind of semi-automatic. They run through the sequences, and then they manually copying the WIM files or manually import them or something like that. And that's fine as well. It really doesn't matter. So the image factory has been around for a long while. Is there anybody here that uses it?
A few, all right.
Okay, cool. For the one that is using it, the project I will have on the flight back to Sweden is to create a UI for it, so it will become clickable. And we're also working with a plugin for Config Manager and a plugin for Virtual Machine Manager to ease that pain.
Yay!
Thank you.
All right. So
yes.
The script I was referring to before from Adam, you can download from his blog. This one here, a square dozen. Good stuff. But let's go on with this one here. That was a demo. All right. What organizations have to think about in terms of going to Windows 10 is primarily two things. One, change processes a little bit because of how Windows as a servicing behaves. It's very different from what it was back in the Windows 7 timeframe. You have to establish processes to test things more frequently that they used to do. So that's one thing, making sure that drivers work for every version of Windows 10 that you want to deploy in your organization. You have to also test some of the most critical apps that you have in your organization. So processes is one thing. The other one is, of course, also thinking about network impact that Windows 10 will have on your environment. Windows 10 is much more, should I say, chattier than Windows 7 was. It simply uses the network much more for many more features. So you need to think about stuff like various peer options, etc. But if you focus on OSD for a little bit, it typically comes down to working out the core scenarios that Microsoft supports for Windows 10, which is, again, bare metal, replace, refresh, and in-place upgrades. And most of the time, we use sequences to control this. So what I've started to do lately, especially in Config Manager, is I've started to create blocks or small sequences, stub sequences, child sequences that only holds a specific type of configuration I want to do for my Windows 10 deployments. Because in 17.10, I think it was, a few releases back of Config Manager, you can nest sequences. So I can have a sequence, a child sequence that in this case adds in ambem support, for example. And it's just a small snippet that does that part only. And in every sequence that I want to have that, I simply nest it in. So if I go to my normal, I can do my Windows 10, 17, or 9 sequence. And if I want to add something here, I will go in this case to the state restore phase, probably somewhere around here. And I will simply add in a run sequence action. And there I can call a stub or a child sequence. So I simply pick the one I want to add, the ambem one, and now I can reuse blocks. It's like Lego, you know, you have these building blocks that you can reuse throughout your various sequences. And obviously, that reduces the amount of changes you have to do in each sequence. Something we also started to play around with was a concept that was put together by basically Wells Fargo, the big bank. They deploy a few machines. They have 400,000 clients, and their record so far is about 10,000 a day. So that's a lot of machines they deploy. And they figured out pretty quickly that just pushing out Windows feature update just like that didn't quite cut it for them. So they took this process and divided this into two different sequences. And these sequences are available for download on Gary Block's blog, so garytown.com. And if you search for the magic keyword Windows as a Service, you have these sequences available for download. But it's basically two different sequences. And we talked about that in our session, me and Amy, on Tuesday, but we didn't have time then because it was a very short session to dive into the details. But bottom line, what I have here is I have one sequence that is a pre-cache sequence. What this sequence does, it prepares the machine to be upgraded to Windows 10. And this could be Windows 7 to Windows 10, But primarily, this is for going from one Windows 10 to the next Windows 10, because that's something you have to do all the time, or how often you do it. So there is a bunch of pre-flight checks. There is a bunch of cleanup jobs, making sure the machine is ready, and so forth. And obviously, you can add in more checks for your environment. But this is what comes out of the box in that sequence. So a bunch of checks, and it also pre-caches the content. The Vim image, the drivers, everything the upgrade process needs is being cached on the box. So we deploy this sequence first to all machines that are supposed to have that update of whatever version of Windows it is. And it runs in the background. It runs silent. We show no progress bar, no nothing. So we will know if it completes successful. And what we do then, if I go to my collections here, you can see I have an OSD collection that is called Upgrade Ready. And there is a query on this collection, basically saying, hey, it's coming. If that specific sequence, that was my pre-cache sequence, if that completes successfully, add that machine to this collection. So I'm running out a test to all machines, but only machines that I know will work with the next feature update will be put in the collection that actually does it. And now, since the content is already staged on the hard drive, the user intrusion is absolutely minimal, because all the stuff is there. We just run the upgrade, reboot immediately. And typically, we will even lock the screen for the user. Because now we don't have to worry about them being able to work anymore on the box. We just want to run the upgrade. We already done all the prep work. So that's something I highly recommend to look into. There is absolutely no harm in trying, at least in controlled environments, to have a single sequence to do the job. It's certainly doable. But what we found is that it gives you a little bit more control to do it in 2 steps. And certainly, the intrusion for the end user is less. If you go in one go, it's typically they cannot use the machine during the entire sequence. Now you shorten that window pretty much. So highly recommend that. We'll come back to UEFI and BIOS updates and stuff later. And we haven't published these sequences anywhere, but since it's only a few of us friends here in this room, shoot me an email, and I'll be happy to send you a copy. I'm stupidly easy to find. Again, your leaked last name, Twitter, social media, email, whatever. I'll be happy to send you a copy. And we have this on record now also, so you're good. Yeah. But let's talk a little bit more about automation. Never heard of.
Absolutely.
Why does he do this to me?
I don't know.
There we go.
Amazing.
You have to click the right slide and then shift F5.
Yeah, so what we need to talk about is automation. I mean, they added a bunch of commandlets for operating system automation. Yeah, was it 17?
Something?
Something. All these new versions. Oh, stress. They added all that, and now it's really possible to do almost everything using PowerShell. And since we are repeating ourselves over and over again, it's kind of nice with PowerShell. And before we go into that, I had a question in the booth, actually. The question was, is Config Manager dead? No. But MBAM is dead? No. Well, it's equally dead as PowerShell in that case, because PowerShell 5.2, which is what we use, Windows PowerShell, is not really being actively developed anymore. PowerShell 6 is. That's the next generation. So there's a lot of things that is dead. We will all die eventually, but not really now. So with PowerShell, we can do a lot of things, and that means we can automate a lot of things. We can run PowerShell on the server side, which is nice, but we can also run PowerShell inside task sequences, and we can use PowerShell to install applications. I also get the question, but on your blog, there's a bunch of VB scripts. True. Why don't you upgrade them because VBScript still works in Windows, the value of converting a VBScript into PowerShell that does the exact same thing means I need to spend 2 hours, and the net result will be the same as I already have. That's like walking.
I took the liberty of putting up a screen that was shown here at Ignite, one of the presentations. I said this is pretty much it.
Yes.
It's not going away. Relax. Okay?
Yes. Well, yeah.
Do you want the screen?
I would love to have the screen.
Screen for you, sir. All right.
Oops, PowerShell. So let's talk about PowerShell first. I'm going to kill that one. Goodbye. And let's talk about PowerShell in Config Manager. We need to make that bigger. Not that way.
You need help, sir?
I think I do. Do I need help? Maybe I do need help. I need to connect in a different way.
Enhanced session mode is pretty good.
I already had that. I just need to specify the complete picture here. There you go.
I know your password.
And I'm just checking that Zoom it works, because otherwise my legs will hurt. They always do. So here we are. What can we do with PowerShell? Well, the interesting thing is that this has been around for a while. I know that PowerShell commandlets for Config Manager has been around for a while. That means there should be plenty of blog posts around this. There are none. The only thing you find is the documentation at Microsoft that has the example of, this is how you start the commandlet. Thank you. Then I know. Not so much. Anyway, here's one really simple and a good example that we actually do use in the real world. We need to import the module, which is fine. I always make sure I run on C drive when I need to run on C drive, and the PS1 drive when I need to run on PS drive. Here we have an import folder, and I have a mount folder, and I have the location where the imported Config Manager Vim files are. That means that when I have a new Vim file, I drop it in the import folder. This script will then verify and check, is this a new Vim file? Or is it an old one? If it's an old one, it's going to compare the Vim files. And if it's a new Vim file, it will copy the Vim file over the other Vim file, so it would overwrite it. And then we update the package, because we have a new version of the same Vim file. If we don't have that, because it's a new operating system, you just created a new reference image for a new OS that you've never done, then it will copy the file, import the Vim file, and create a task sequence for verification. Isn't that exactly what we need to do when we have a new operating system? We need to import it and deploy it to a VM. I don't need to have drivers at that time. I just need to deploy it so I can see that apps are working. And it does that. And it takes not that much of a time. It takes a few minutes to do this. But basically, it's going to grab the Vim files, mount them. And the reason why we're mounting them before we're importing them is because there's a lot of information inside the Vim file that I can't reach from the outside. So by mounting it, I get more data. Time, date, and I can see other things as well. So we mount them, grab the data, and then we just compare them. We have a new Vim to import, and then we import that, and we build a task sequence. And yes, this is our very secret password. Now you know. If you forget this, I can tell you that's our password. Does it save a lot of time? No, it doesn't really save a lot of time, but it means that you can run the image build and if it's a new one, it's going to show up in a folder, and then you have a scheduled task running on the config manager server, and the next morning everything is done. That means that you can spend time on something useful. Netflix, World of Tanks, World of Battleships, driving a Jeep, having fun with a Camaro, something like that, instead of watching. How many of you really feel that your job is watching progress bars? Yeah. So, after running this script, it's going to look like this. I'm going to have a new operating system here, and I'm going to have a new task sequence here. Currently, I don't have that, so apparently I need to run the script. Let's run that. It's going to take a while to do that, and while we're waiting for this, let's assume that it's going to create a really blank and boring task sequence. Maybe you want to add a bunch of applications. These are the applications we want to test, right? You're not going to test every application, but you have a set of apps that you really want to test. Packages are already there, you just want to inject them. Maybe you want to run a command that do something, run a PowerShell script that does something, right? Then we need to open this task sequence and modify it, or not. Let's go for the not. Because the only thing you need to do, and this is a static PowerShell script right now, but the only thing I really need to do is this. Get every validation task sequence. For each validation task sequence, inject the following group, add the following steps with the following packages, and then the task sequence is done. You are going to repeat this for a long period of time. Why poking around in the task sequence? I also recommend this for a lot of my customers, because how many of you have been in this situation where you're working in Config Manager and something calls your attention? You walk away and there's a button called OK and Cancel. Did I do everything I should do? Cancel. And then you deploy it. No, everything's lost. Let's do it again. Anybody? Yeah, every Monday morning. So instead of doing that, the only thing we need to do is run this command and add this to it, which means it is now something that Johan and I tried many years ago. We tried to say, is it possible to build a complete infrastructure using PowerShell? Sure, Microsoft told us you can, so we wrote a book about it. The number of words invented during that period that didn't exist before, and there was bad language, is humongous. We realized that it wasn't that simple, but we are there today. Today, we can actually do everything using PowerShell. Sometimes we need to use a bit of .NET framework, and sometimes we need to do
inventions.
We need to invent things, but other than that, it's pretty simple. So it's going to import these, and then we're basically done. There are other ways to run PowerShell as well, inside the task sequence. And if we're looking at running it inside the task sequence, it's pretty easy, actually. Let's find a script that does that. That's a report. I want to have that. And here we are. Image Factory. We can go to Image Factory. That's the wrong folder. And deployment. It's here. MDT. Build Lab Dev. Applications. Generate OS report. Let's open that one. Edit. Here we are. The only thing you really need to do is to add this inside your PowerShell script.
The reason we do this is so we can tie into everything that the sequence creates. So we can tap into variables, we can set variables, we can figure out where to log things, etc., etc. So this is very commonly used for application wrappers, things like that. You have a sequence that install apps. You want to deploy them in a very consistent way. So you create a PowerShell wrapper that creates the install, but also additional logging, status messages, whatever you need.
So recently I was in Phoenix working for a customer, and they were doing, I would say, everything in the application model, which is good, like that. But they were using the entire function of the app model. So every condition was in the app model, and everything MSI and command lines and all that stuff. And I asked the person in charge for wrapping all these applications, how much time do you need to spend on each app? About 2 to 4 hours. Okay, great. I want to show you something. Ditch config manager for a couple of seconds. Use this PowerShell script, create a folder, put the app, and run the command line from the PowerShell script instead. Then you figure out how to do the command line. That's going to take you a couple of minutes, maybe 10, 15 minutes. When you're done, you take the script and you put the source file in a folder. Then you have your app. And now you have all the conditions inside the PowerShell script. There are no conditions. And the nice thing about this is that I can now verify that the application is correctly installed outside Config Manager. There's nothing wrong with Config Manager. It does everything great. It's just that how do you verify that an application install actually works? What's the only way to verify that it actually works? Deploy the package. That's it. How do you verify that the task sequence actually works? You deploy the task sequence. By splitting everything up in tiny bits, you can verify each step outside the sequence, and therefore you save time. So that person is not doing application for 4 hours. She's using one of these wrappers, and the average time is now about 25 minutes per application. And when you have 6,000 applications, that means something.
Out of curiosity, how many of you in here are using some sort of like a standard wrapper script for apps that you put in Config Manager? I would say about 30% of the room, so it's a pretty common scenario for sure. All right.
When you want to play with this in Config Manager, it's kind of tricky, because if you deploy a task sequence, because the only way to figure out all these variables is to run the sequence, being the sequence. The trick with being the sequence is that, well, you can't be that unless you create a very fancy package. I think this is done, by the way. Let's see. Oh, there it is. Oh, that's the task sequence. If I go to my applications and I search for my packages, I should have a very, very boring application called something. See where I have that. Not there. Nice packages. I can't even see anymore.
Are you talking about the service UI thing?
Yes. Let's find it.
Switch screen here.
We can switch screen.
So this is something we use a lot for troubleshooting apps in sequences. We simply have a single sequence. In this one, I was playing around with disabling and enable the UI on the fly. But we have a single command line that we run that kicks off the service UI component. And when you start the service UI component in the sequence this way, you get a command prompt that is the sequence, that is running a system context that has access to all those variables. So now you can test your script as they were kicked off by the sequence without having to update distribution points, change scripts, etc. You can run them, change them as many times as you like until they work. Because now you're testing them as they were been executed or run by that sequence. If you search, basically do Bing, Google, whatever you use to search service UI, my last name, you will find a blog post where this command line is specified. But this has been a lifesaver for us when testing scripts that is supposed to be run by sequences. Because otherwise, it's like a 10-minute process for a single test run because you had a typo in the script. Yeah.
So that's pretty neat. The PowerShell snippet I showed you also contains a function of dumping all the variables. And that's another thing that we can see people are using. So we have that one. And that was the operating system. That one. This little nifty guy. That part. We have a lot of people, and what they do is that they take that and they put it in every script they run. Every wrapper they use, every PowerShell script that's used within a task sequence, and they dump it out. Or they create a separate command line on top of the task sequence, and the first thing it does is that it writes this as a variables.txt file and put it on the hard drive. So whenever you're troubleshooting, instead of going through all the log files, you just open that up and go like, hey, yeah, the operating system computer name was wrong, or the serial number wasn't correct, or the MAC address didn't, so it's a really fast way to find that out.
All right. Another piece, and what Michael showed you is actually not specifically for Windows 10. We just happen to use it with Windows 10 a lot, but it obviously works for Windows 7 as well. This, however, is something that is more tied into Windows 10. That is sort of Windows 10 is driving this, forcing us to do BIOS updates to make sure that the hardware actually will work with Windows 10, making sure the BIOS is configured so it actually supports all the Windows 10 features. And I'm specifically talking about making sure that you have your hardware set to UEFI. Because if you come from a Windows 7 world, that's not the case. You're running on BIOS because Windows 7 kind of likes that configuration. But you have 10, 11, 12, some Windows 10 features that require UEFI, and you have to figure out how to do that. You also need to figure out converting existing boxes that you may already have on Windows 10 to UEFI. And as I mentioned before, you do have to worry about drivers as well, driver testing. So as we demonstrated on Tuesday a little bit, what we started to do recently is stealing with pride, really. Maurice and Nikolai, they are in the audience here somewhere. Raise your hand if you're here. I was hoping they would be here. All right. They have written a little utility, a small, tiny 15,000-line PowerShell script. It's the biggest script I've seen in my life. What this one allows you to do is simply select if you want to work with drivers or BIOSes or both, because you have that option. And you select the models and vendors you have, and you click Start, Download, and Import. So you start this PowerShell script, you select a few things, and what happens in the back end after this has been running for about an hour or two, because vendors, OEMs, have their download speeds are, they vary. But what you end up having is a bunch of ready-made packages. These are for drivers, but you also have BIOS update packages. So the tool creates them. If you don't like the tool, of course, you can create them manually, but it's just a very convenient way to get those packages created and versionized and get the right name, et cetera, et cetera. And then the only thing we need to do after that is go into our various sequences that we have and tell them to use it. What I didn't have time to explain at Tuesday morning when me and Amy was presenting is that these PowerShell scripts, the BIOS updates one is actually a few scripts. The driver one is just one script. They are using the download package content action that came with Config Manager 15.11. So here is a script that finds out which package it needs when I deploy this to my, in this case, EliteBook 85, or sorry, CBook G3 machine. So it's just a single PowerShell script that figures out what package to inject. Because when you have that action, the one that you have here, sorry, software, download package content, it's dynamic. You don't have to hard code which package you need. You can have a script or something tell it that it needs that package. The only downside with this is it obviously will not work for offline media. So if you're using offline media, this is not supported. So for those sequences, or for that scenario, you typically create a separate sequence where you did what like you did in the past, where you simply added in driver by model, you put a condition on them, like this one here. You put a condition, and instead of using a download package content action, you use a normal, reference a package and a command line that copies it locally. Because then we can feed instructions and say, hey, just dism these drivers in. And I recommend, if you're using this method, put a condition on the step that runs dism, so it only tries to inject drivers that actually exist. Have it look for a folder, put the drivers there, and have it to skip if there are no drivers to import. So that way we can have the automation, we can have the tool creating all the packages, and we can create sequences that will work both for dynamic selection and also that works on offline media. Same goes with BIOS updates. I have a small snippet here that I was adding to a sequence earlier. Same story. One script that figures out what it needs. This is a such and such hardware, such and such model, having BIOS version 11. What packages do I have imported? Well, I actually have a version 12 for this model. It's going to automatically download and install that if needed. And these I typically put in my normal sequences, normal bare metal deployment sequences. And I put them in the beginning. And I put them in a way so it's just before it reboots out of Windows PE. So I put them about here. This is where I add in those steps or where I add in that stub sequence. And then this action is actually going to, when it's run, it will obviously reboot the machine after that. So that way I can make sure that F12, do a deployment, I have the latest BIOS automatically. I can take this one step further. I can also do this with BIOS configurations. I mentioned BIOS to UEFI. Why not do that? Why not call the different vendor tools, Dell, HP, Lenovo? For Dell and HP, you have to download their tools and use. Lenovo is stupidly easy once you learn their syntax. But each of these is actually just a PowerShell exe with a command that sets a specific WMI variable, because that's all that is required for Lenovo. Sure, I can put this all in a fancy script, but the reason we had these like this was easy to test and verify, because I can just disable an action when I wanted to.
And that is a very common way. This is the way I also play with it until I figure out how each and every model works. When I'm done with that, I take this entire group and put it in one PowerShell script and use either XML or comma-separated text file as data. Then I have one step in the task sequence that says, configure the BIOS. How often do you need to modify your task sequence if you do it that way? Kind of never, right? Then you never need to be in the OK and cancel situation ever again.
Yeah. So the same goes with converting actual disk utilities. This is a sequence I borrowed from my wife. It does the conversion also of the partitioning of the disk. So if I have existing Windows 10 boxes out there, or if I'm just upgraded a Windows 7 one to a Windows 10 one, I can run this sequence, or I can add this sequence to do that complete conversion. Same story, force it to run the MBR to GPD utility, and then call the vendor tools, and then reboot them back into Windows. You can run this sequence as is. You can push it out to existing boxes that you have on BIOS, but you want them to be on UEFI. The same one with the BIOS update sequence. This one can be added to an existing sequence like I showed you. This one can be its own sequence. F12 BIOS update done. I can push this sequence out to existing machines. Same sequence. I can use it in many different ways. The purpose? Making sure my BIOSes are up to date, or at least are on a version that makes Windows 10 really, really happy. And this you find out through testing, obviously. But so that there is a lot of automation you can do by simply structuring things in Lego blocks. And as I said before, if you want these samples, shoot me an email. I'll be happy to send them over. All right. Driver BIOS UEFI. Yes, sir. We are here. I could probably spend a good week on Windows 10 customizations, because that's a lot on a lot of people's minds these days.
But there's one thing that is in common for all these talks about customization. Try to avoid it. It's really the thing. I mean, I had a customer once and he said, you upgraded all my Exchange stuff and it doesn't work. Okay, what doesn't work? Well, it doesn't work. I can't read my email. It turns out that the color of the Exchange icon was slightly more yellow. If he really needs to be able to read the email, he's going to figure it out.
Yeah. So anyhow, the most common changes we see organizations are doing is providing at least a slightly customized start menu. And the reason I do this is typically not because they want to, but because they're removing some of the built-in apps. And when you do that, it leaves small, tiny holes where those tiles used to be. And one very quick way to make them go away is to apply a custom start menu layout on top of it. And the way we recommend to do that is actually be at least somewhat nice to your users. Use a group policy to apply it, but do the partial version of it. Yeah. The one that allows you to specify a few things, but allows the users in turn to also specify a few things. So you don't just overwrite their entire start menu with no option of doing any changes whatsoever.
In the mandatory section, you put the applications they actually are using. Could be Outlook, Word, stuff like that. Yeah. And then you can leave everything to them. Yeah. I do think it's a good idea to remove applications that are conflicting with each other. I'd like to help users, right? They should see what they are using, and they don't need to see the other things. Do I remove the Xbox application? No, I don't really remove it. Since we already have determined the fact that users aren't able to find an application because the color is different, I'm pretty sure they can't find the Xbox application unless they really want to. And in that case, it's fine.
So here is an example where I have taken a group policy. I've also done some other changes. As you can see, I have removed the old programs one that exists. I have a customize here where I have my corporate shortcuts. And this is the area where the user can actually do changes. And I also removed the store icon for this environment. A very, very common question is, all right, I'm using Windows 10 Pro. I can't customize as much as I want. No, sorry, you can't. You bought the Fiat, and Fiat is never going to be a Ferrari. And the Ferrari is going to be here a little bit more shiny, a little more better. And
there's always two ways to explain Enterprise versus Pro. This is what everybody does. Pro is the default, and Enterprise contains more business environment things. That's the wrong way to tell it, people. Enterprise is the default. Pro is the limited version of Windows when they removed all the security functionalities. How many would like to run a car with no brakes? There's a difference in saying this car doesn't have a brake, but this one, they have added the security feature called brakes. It's like, that's wrong, right? So when we have those discussions, we really, really try to explain for the customers that what you want is the Enterprise. But what your wallet wants is, of course, the Pro version, because
for the record, for not being yelled at really bad, no, they didn't remove all Windows 10 security features from Pro. But there are a bunch of them that is only available in Enterprise and Education. And here is, for example, a listing of all group policy settings that only apply to Enterprise and Education. And it could very well be that there are some of these features that you want to actually have, like this one.
Yeah.
It's not available in Pro.
That is instead of removing all the application, then you just disable the consumer experience. That's the way to fix it. Yeah. Same goes for spotlights. The most important things you have in the enterprise SKU is, according to me, Credential Guard. I really love Credential Guard. And the ability to customize the image, if needed.
This is a key one, too, in my opinion. I have organizations contacting me and saying, we must disable the store. Why? Well, they can't request apps. But we have a few apps that actually needs to be in the store. Well, use the business store then. Well, can't. We kind of. So this is useful as well. Other scenarios is, of course, doing custom things like setting wallpapers is very common configuration. Setting the lock screen, which was quite interesting in 1803 until very, very recently. It worked beautiful to have a group policy set the lock screen in 1709. And then you try to do the same thing with 1803, and it just wasn't possible until an out-of-band update came 2 weeks ago, 1 week ago. Will be included in the next cumulative updates, of course, in October, but now it's possible also for 1803 to do this. It was a little bug not so little, it was a bug they fixed to get this working. Other customizations you do is like OEM information on the information about the machine. If you do need to remove apps, we again have these config manager folks that apparently have too much spare time. But Nikolai put together a script that is updated for Windows 10 1803 to actually remove built-in apps. And not only built-in apps, but also components that are in Windows. Capabilities, they call it. That is not an app per se, but it also can be something that you might want to consider to remove. So good example there, at least a good starting point if you want to script that stuff. Yeah. All right. That being said, monitoring.
Yes. So monitoring is used for two things. One is to figure out if it's working right now, and the other one is to actually know that the environment is working over a long time. We have a bunch of customers saying that, I would like to know when the deployment is done. Can it send an email? Yes, it can. Can it order a pizza? Yes, it can.
The screen, sir?
Yes.
I've already switched.
You need to pay for the pizza, okay? It's not free. One of the easiest things is to use the MDT integration and use the monitoring tool. It's a checkbox. It is really a checkbox. You check the box. And when you do that, it's going to update your custom settings.ini. If you use config manager, you need to go to your custom settings.ini and you need to add a line for monitoring. And it's like here.
Event share, event something.
I think it is. I can't remember what it is. Event, yes, it's event share. I think I have it here. Rules, yeah, it is. Event service, that's the one. When you do that, you can now picking up the data from that. One of the easiest things I ever did was this. I'm not really the Excel spreadsheet guy, but here's an Excel spreadsheet that dynamically reads the OData feed with nice buttons, and it gives you a couple of things, start and end time. Another way to do it is to use this. This is a website. We use a PowerShell commandlet that extracts the data and it presents it as a website. Therefore, every instructor can do that. But what I really want to show you is this. This is very nice. You can find this because on SCC Config Manager and their website. It's Jordan that wrote it. Yep. He's a BI guy, Power BI guy. And the nice thing here is that you can see things like this. You can see things like we are doing great, and then suddenly we're doing bad. So over time, what issues do we have? And that is something that you can now use to figure out why things are going bad, what issues do we have, and so on and so on.
So we put together some resources. Me and Michael have been writing books for quite some time. They're available on this link here. We recently launched an online training platform focusing on Windows 10 deployment specifically. For example, there's one of the config manager MVPs, Jörgen Nilsson. He wrote an entire course on just customizing Windows 10 stuff. Deep dive stuff is a 2-3 hour training on just that. So shameless plug, but this is good information. Some are free, some are not. With that, thank you so much, guys. Remember this, and have a great conference.
Thank you.